I just played in an over-the-board chess tournament today, and I am exhausted. I played 5 games, and I'm going to go through them with you. Now, I'm not going to go super in-depth into the nitty-gritty, detailed analysis for all of the games, because I think that would put you to sleep and make you click off the video. So, this is going to be a quick recap where I go through them and kind of show you the storyline of each of the games and kind of give you the tale of the tournament. So, let's go into the basic details about this tournament. Each game, 30 minutes per player with 5-second delay. That's different from bonus time because you don't gain time every move. Instead, your clock just doesn't start counting down for 5 seconds. So it's actually a pretty fast format for an over-the-board tournament. It's not like classical where you get like over an hour. So you still got to make moves fairly quickly, and we'll see as the tournament progresses, I get a little more tired and fatigued, is as to be expected. Okay, without further ado, let's hop into the chess, shall we? I start off with the black pieces. I'm feeling good, playing against a kid, but, you know, I've been crushed by kids over the board on, in chess games before, and this tournament was no different. But this kid, yeah, he wasn't going to beat me. No, sir. I play c6, d4, d5. We got the Caro-Kann. I'm super comfortable in this opening. He plays e5, and we go for c5 right away. We've got the Botvinnik Carls going right for the center, so he defends it with c3, knight c6, and knight f3. Now, I was happy to see this because black is actually already slightly better. The setup is not ideal for white because after all of this, well, this pain is actually quite annoying, and I've got some good pressure on the center. So, I develop a few more pieces, and he plays this really early bishop g5, but the pin here is not that scary because I just moved my queen, right? And now I'm adding even more pressure to the d4 pawn right in the center, so he gets a little spooked. He takes on c6, but that just helps me because now I no longer have this congested dark squared bishop here because the knight has moved away, so thank you for that. And castles, I just chop the knight and win a free pawn. So this is off to a great start. I'm sitting there, I'm feeling good, I've had my Celsius, I'm caffeinated, and I'm like, yeah, this is going to be a great tournament. No, it wasn't a great tournament. Well, I went 2 out of 5, so I won 2, I lost 3. Yeah, it's fine. But anyway, I hit his queen with tempo. He goes here, kind of pinning the knight, except it's not really a pin because my queen is defended, so I just drop it back and say, hey, I'm going to go into an endgame, up a pawn, and this pawn is super weak here on e5, and, I'm going to get very quick development, my rook's onto the files, and I just figured this passed pawn as well was really strong, so I was like, I've got to be winning here, and I am. So he jumps in with the knight, whatever. I play king d7, protecting all the squares here, so there's no fork, there's no infiltration, and my king on a light square is actually pretty safe, because there ain't no rooks getting in here, and there ain't no bishops getting in there either. So, he brings his rook to defend the e5 pawn, I develop my bishop, and go for a trade of pieces, because I'm up material, and also this knight is actually kind of a little pain in the behind, so I'm like, okay, let's just go to d4, trade it off. He happily obliges, he obliges, and I was happy about that. I don't think he had to take, well, apparently he does have to. I was thinking, oh, what if you go back? Oh yeah, there's a fork, I forgot about that. That was also kind of enticing him to take the knight, because I was threatening that fork on c2. So he takes, I take, and he defends the pawn on b2. I just bring my rook to the open file. Now, I don't trade here, because then we just enter a rook endgame where I'm only up 1 pawn, and yeah, that could be hit or miss, and then my pawns are doubled. So I'm like, okay, instead of that, let's keep the bishops on the board, and let's just take on e5. Sure, he gets b6, big whoop. I'm still up a pawn, and yeah, these pawns are gonna roll, right? So he goes here, but this blunders something really cool. I can take on b2 with my bishop, because if he takes, it's mate. How about that? And yeah, and if he takes me, okay, I take. He still can't take the bishop because it's still mate. So what does he do instead? He goes rook c7 check. Sorry, rook c7 check. I just take it, take the bishop, take. And now I'm up 3 pawns. And yeah, I can win a game up 3 pawns in a rook endgame. So we're just going to fly through the rest of this here. The pawns just march up the board. And he played on, but, I just make a queen, quickly ladder mate, and first game is off to a success. I'm 1-1, I'm feeling good, energized, ready to go for this next round. So let's see how that ended up. Not well. Yeah, it didn't go very well, but let's check it out anyway. Playing black pieces again. So d4, d5, and we have a Queen's Gambit declined. It was kind of interesting, this tournament. I had 2 Queen's Gambit declines from black, 2 Caro-Kanns advance, where I play c5 with black, and 1 Alekhines defense, where I was playing with white. So it was an interesting array of openings, but let's see how this one goes. We get knight c3, knight f6, knight f3, knight bd7. Yeah, bishop pins, that's normal. Bishop e7 blocks, e3, whatever, castles. This is all super standard. This is all normal. I'm like, yeah, this is fine. I'm chilling. I'm going to play c5 at some point. I'm going to fianchetto my bishop. So I hit his bishop real quick, asking it a question, because if he takes, I mean, that's just not great, you know, because now I got the bishop pair for what? So he drops the bishop back, and I'm like, okay, I play a6. Now, I do this because I want to play b5, right? So he plays h3, which is not good. It's a bit too slow. What white should do is just maybe start trading in the center or develop the bishop a little bit. Well, actually, that still runs into this, which is kind of the problem of what happened in the game. But what else? You know, he could push c5 maybe and go for like a big space advantage or something. But instead, h3 is just really slow because now I take on c4, bringing his bishop out, and then I play b5, hitting the bishop. And now my light squared bishop is very happy on this long diagonal. So he castles, and I play for c5. He takes it. I jump my knight in, and I'm feeling good. I got a nice knight plopped in the center here. This knight maybe jumping in. I got a very strong bishop, and yeah, I'm feeling great. Now, I don't trade queens. I don't want to do that because his rooks just get active, you know, in the center. And I thought, okay, well, maybe I could double his pawns. But if you do that, then he's got the bishop pair. And I was like, you know, and my knight is pinned because this bishop's undefended. So I was like, I don't want to do that. It doesn't feel right. So I keep the queens on the board. And I say, hey, if you want to take my queen and get my rook active, then go for it. But otherwise, no thanks. So I fight for the c-file. And he plops his knight in the center. Now here I go astray from what is correct. Now, it should just be simple. Just play something like queen d7, I thought about, or queen b6 is a thing. Or you can play this b4, acknowledging the fact that after you dislodge the knight, you're threatening mate. So white has to do something about that, and then you can get in with like rook c4 and like get super active, or like even g5 now, bishop g6, and like knight e4, and now you're hitting the bishop, you're going for the bishop pair, right? So this is how it could have and probably should have gone, something like that, but instead, I get spooked. Why do I get spooked? Well, because this queen is coming to c2, and that battery has given me many a headaches in the past. In this, you know, in these positions. So I'm like, you know, if I play something slow like queen d7, he's just going to play queen c2. And I was like, I'm going to get mated. But I don't. I can always play this, but this is always scary, pushing pawns in front of your king. And I'm like, if this knight ever moves, I get mated. And yeah, it's just like something you always have to worry about, looming over your head like taxes. And tax season's coming up. It's a few months away from April. File your taxes. I still got to do that, but I have a few months. I'm not late. Anyway, so I go here because I miscalculated. I miscalculated. I saw all the lines. I did. I just didn't evaluate them correctly. I thought that after knight here, knight e4, bishop e4, bishop e7, queen e7. I saw he could take rook c5, removing the defender of the bishop on e4, but I thought that after rook c5, bishop here, that I was up in exchange because I counted wrong. Because calculating things like that, it's tough. You got to remember how many pieces are getting traded and when and who ends with the pieces, and it's tough. So, yeah, that line happens. But unfortunately, once he played the move, I was like, oh, yeah, he gets 2 pieces for the rook, which is bad for me. Yeah, so things go even further awry from here because, you know, once you make one blunder, you kind of just get over it and you're like, this game's in the toilet anyway. Let me just like attack, you know, one move threats. Let me just one move threats, hang a pawn, you know, because you don't see that it's hanging after you push, and then you just promptly lose. I stopped taking notes here. I stopped notating the game because it was pointless. I played it out for a bit just because, you know, sometimes you want to play out a lost position to like calm yourself down and just like move the pieces and make your opponent prove it, you know, as well. But he does, no problem. Now, if we go back for a little bit here, the annoying thing is that he's threatening like a knight here thing, you know? Like if I do nothing, if I go like here, then it's annoying because there's always like this looming, right? Now, it doesn't work here apparently, but without a computer and with like 2 minutes on the clock, that's kind of hard to see because it looks like you're just getting mated somehow, but you're not. Miraculously, you're not getting mated because, well, jeez, I'm tired. Like I said, I played all these games today. You don't go here. It hangs the bishop, but apparently like a4, and this is apparently a draw. I don't know. The computer is the computer, but that was always the idea I was scared of, is like a knight check revealing the attack. So anyway, he ended up like winning all my pawns, and I just resigned. So I'm 1-1. I'm 1-1. Yeah, I think. Yeah, because after the first game, I said I was 1-4-1, but now I'm 1-2, 1-1, you know. So I won one, I lost one. Let's hop into the next game. I finally get a game with the white pieces. Oh, man. And we get an Alchein's defense. Okay, let's kick the knight around. Now, this game, I was feeling good for the most part. I was feeling good. I developed my knight, got my bishop out. Now, I didn't play it quite right, but, you know, the annoying thing is that he gets the... Also, this kid is like, I don't know, like 7 years old, 8 years old. And for some, you know, kids, and he's rated like 1,000, but he's playing like Magnus Carlsen. I mean, not really, but he's still playing better than 1,000. I mean, come on. 1,000 rated players blunder their pawns and pieces all over the place. And this kid is like positionally like attacking my center. And I don't know. I also played very poorly. D5 is a bad move because I get to play C5 and kick his knight. And I thought I just went a pawn here. But this is bad because knight takes d4. And after, you know, it's just tough because of this pin, right? So you got to, like, take it. But then there's, like, takes this, and then this, and this. And, yeah, the c5 pawn's extremely weak. It's probably going to die. You can try pinning, but it's not going to work because there's, like, queen h4. And, like, bishop here and that. And, you know, the rook probably is going to get lifted somehow, but you know, it's just not pleasant. What I should have done is go d5 first. I didn't like knight e5. Why didn't I like it? Not too sure. I don't think I looked at it too closely because after all this, I mean, like, you know, they can never really take the pawn on b2 because the rook just gets super active. But yeah, I didn't look at that d5 move in this line. I think I just wanted to grab the pawn. Because I also miscounted here. Remember when I miscounted in the last game? I miscounted in this game because I thought the pawn was always defended enough after he took my knight. I was like, yeah, if I take them, the pawn's defended enough. But it's not. It's just not. Actually, no. I didn't think it was defended after this. I'm not that dumb. I'm not that dumb. But what I thought was that if I took like this, then it was defended enough because my queen was still here. But I'm just really bad at counting, apparently, because this is 1, 2, 3 pieces attacking it, and I have 1, 2 defenders. So I don't know what was going on inside my little brain. Not correct things, that's what. But I was like, you know what? Let's make a declaration of violence here. And we're going to go king h1, we're going to rook g1, and we're going to mate the guy. But that's really difficult when he's got a very annoying bishop on f6 defending the g7 pawn that you can never really get rid of. Because you know. So, yeah. Let's see how it evolves. I should have just taken with the queen. Because after, like, knight takes d4, for example, you can take on b7. But I was always scared of that because you get hit with rook b8 and rook b2. And it's like, you know, I don't love it. I don't want to deal with it. So I didn't do that. I went for this, which is really bad. But I get pretty active. I'm going in. Now, once we got to this point, I don't know why I don't know why I didn't play queen h5 going for this attack, right, on f7. I saw it as soon as I played queen g4. I was like, wait a minute. I could have gone to h5 instead and created an immediate threat. But anyway, I was like, yeah, we create a battery and somehow we're going to try and get rid of the bishop. So he kicks me back. And I also thought that after all of this, and I was actually kind of right here, rook d1, I counterattack the queen. He hits my queen, fine. Now he can't take this because he loses the queen, which is the point, and he goes queen b6. And I saw, he also, mind you, at this point I have like a minute or two on the clock, so no bonus time. So I'm like, just making moves. And I go bishop here, attacking his rook, right? So he moves the rook, and then I push e4. And I'm like, hey, I got the pawns rolling, my king is safe, I'm chilling, right? I got a discovered, like, mate attack, lumen. So here, I got so mad here. You know why? You know why? Because I hallucinated. Because I was tired, and apparently I was only looking at like this half of the board and thinking about my memory for the other half of the board down here, and I thought that I still had this battery. And I thought that he blundered, like bishop e7, he's screwed because it's mate. It's not. The bishop is there, idiot. But you play like bishop d5 and hello, right? I mean, black has to play like queen h6 to defend, but queen f5, hello, king h8, queen f7, hello, rook c7 maybe, but then rook gf1, that's, I guess, just defending the pawn. But like queen f5, and I don't know, like things get spicy, and it's not so clear because you got the pawns. But I went here. Guys, I played queen takes g7. I'm not kidding. I am 1800 elo on chess.com. My over the board rating is more like almost 1400 because I don't play a lot, and also when I play like poo. Poo-poo, but I don't know why I did this. I really don't. I even stopped the clock. This was the most embarrassing. I stopped the clock, reached out my hand, and said, good game. Because I thought it was mate. Because I didn't... This bishop was like invisible in my brain. And he looked so confused. This is a kid. And he starts the clock again. And then just takes my queen. And I get so confused. I'm like, you can't do that. My queen's defended by my rook on g1. And then I looked at the board and I went, oh my. I am an idiot. So I was doing so well with these pawns. I dislodged his bishop away. It was just what I wanted. And then I did this. And I played a few more moves, but, I resigned here because it's mate. It's mate. There's literally no way to not get mated. This is the fastest way. But, yeah, that was painful, man. That was painful. But, hey, you live and you learn. When you think it's mate in one, quadruple check that before you play the move. Don't hang your queen, ladies and gentlemen. So, I have another game with the white pieces. And it's a French defense. Oh, and we developed some pieces. Now, this was strange. I don't know why he went knight f5 really early. Usually it's like queen b6 or something, like going after, this or something, or maybe like he takes first and then plays queen b6, or like knight b4 hitting my bishop, something like that. But instead, he goes knight f5, and I'm like, okay, chop. Because now his pawns suck. Also, I just win a pawn. So that's pretty cool. And this game went pretty easily here. I bring my bishop out, and I was annoyed because of the last couple games, and I'm like, you know what? I'm up a pawn already. I'm just going to go for the kill here. And I win another pawn, which is cool, because if he goes here, then I can just take, and I'm chilling. So that's pretty cool. But instead he goes here, and I'm like, that's also fine, because I take, and I'm up 2 pawns. His king's still in the center, and yeah, I just start developing. I hop my knight in the center, I bring my rooks, and I just trade all the pieces. There's a nice little tactic here to trade off all the pieces. Black thinks that he just wins a pawn, but instead he goes into a losing king and pawn endgame, and he played it out. I mean, The pawns march up and it's mate. So that was a good game. I was happy about that one. Went smooth like butter, like a hot knife through butter. Let's check out the last game, shall we? Now, mind you, this is like after over 4 hours of chess and even more time of being in that tournament playing hall, because the first game was at 10 in the morning. This game started at like 3:30 maybe in the afternoon. So this is, like 5-6 hours into the day. And, your brain's just tired. You've been playing chess all day. Yeah, like an idiot too. So I get another Caro-Kann. I play c5. Now, usually I see people playing c3. He goes knight f3 first, whatever. I just develop, and I'm like, he takes the pawn, though. Usually people get scared of taking the pawn, and they're like, oh, he's probably got something prepped against that. I don't want to waste time and take the pawn and open myself up to attack. But he takes it. He takes it. It's the best move. I get my bishop out, I attack. Now, here I was like, oh, he's probably going to play this. And then maybe I go here, here, here. And I was like, that seems fine. Bishop here, here. Castles? I don't know, here. I thought it was fine, but apparently this and like, even though you win back the pawn, you're just worse, You're just worse because this is just annoying. And the knight is going to like hop in or something. And, the pawns are marching down. But, beside the point, let's go back to the actual game. Sorry. He plays queen b3. And it's the end of the day. I'm exhausted. I didn't take here on c5. You know why? I was scared of queen takes b2 or b7. I was like, I'm scared. I'm scared. I got 3 pieces developed, and he's got a queen and a knight and a weak pawn on e5, and I'm scared of the queen getting in here. Because if I go here, then this is what I saw. But I can just go here and defend everything. And if bishop here, well, okay, that's fine. I can just castle. And if takes, then you can play rook b8, queen a6, bishop f3, gf, rook b6, and it's a fork. Now, if that's not some computer garbage, I don't know, man. Definitely like seeable, but not, maybe if it was my first game and I was fresh, but I don't know. I was a little scared. I was like, I don't want to do this because then it's going to be like, it's annoying. So I don't take on c5. Instead, I go queen c7, putting more pressure on this pawn. Now, you do have to be a little careful. It looks like you can, in this position, like win this pawn, because the knight is pinned, right, to the queen, but not the case. Whoops. Whoops, you got to block, right? There's also other tricks with like queen check. But then there's, I guess, bishop d7 hitting the queen. But if you were to like go back, then you lose the bishop, and this is a common trap that you can fall into. So there's a lot of like hidden traps that you don't want to fall into when they take this pawn, and your bishop comes out to g4. So I was like, I'm trying to be really careful. But then, he goes here, and I'm like, oh, why would I take the pawn? Because he's going to play like knight b5 or something. But then I take this with check, of course. I don't know, he's going to play like bishop e3. And then I'm like, but then knight e5, and then b5, and you're going to go like queen b6. And then he's going to go like here, and you can't take because you lose your queen. But apparently, you can just take it. It's like, I don't know. These were all lines I was like kind of half seeing in my head. But they were all foggy and fuzzy. And I was like, let's just take the pawn with check because it's probably a decent move. But it helps him get a bishop out, and I just go back, and then he adds pressure to the fire, and I move my bishop because he's threatening, like, if I do nothing and just go like here, then he's going to like take, right? And that's no good. So I move my bishop back to h5, he castles, and I play e5. It's a good move. Play e5, kind of force this a little bit. And then he goes here. Okay, fine, because he wants to get the rook here. Now, apparently, I played this well. I go bishop e7. I hit the queen. I long castle, which is the third best move. It's better to just go rook here. But, this pin was annoying because my queen is undefended on c7. So I'm like, I can never, and I was like, he's going to play something like this. And if I push, then he can take. Except he can't do that because I have a rook there. Now, it was in a different line. It was something else I was considering. If I castle, like, this way, I mean, he can just take this. But let's say he went here or something. He can always... I don't know, man. Because I was like, he can do this, and I can't do this or I lose my queen. But apparently you can go a6. Queen a5. Yeah. And then you take the rook because you're not pinned anymore. See, it's like weird stuff going on in this game. I don't even know. But I long castle because I defend and I'm like, hey, I got my king out of the center. But then he takes, and I sacrifice the e5 pawn here by not taking with the pawn. It's better to take with the pawn, but, I was scared. I was scared. But it's better to solidify the center, of course. But I take with the queen, thinking if he takes, I'm going to go here and get really... uber active on the diagonals. And I was like, I'm going to sack a pawn for activity, whatever, who cares? I'm going to bring my rook here. I'm going to go here and I'm going to do something, right? But he doesn't take it right away. I'm like, and then here I just you know what? Just throw the pawns forward, threaten the fork, try to push here, something. But this is just really bad. It's a worse version because you go here and sure you get but this bishop's blocked now because of the f5 pawn, so it's not going anywhere. And he goes here and I go wayward out with my queen, which is dumb. Here's what I'll tell you. It attacks the rook, which is undefended because he never moved his bishop or knight. See how tired I am? I think the horse sees a bishop, but he never moved the knight. And I'm like, I can't believe that this guy is crushing me having not moved a knight and a rook. It pisses you off when that happens. But I thought he had to move the rook because I didn't see knight d2 for some reason. I was like, oh, if he goes here, it's mate, right? So he's got it, and he can't move off the back rank. Maybe he goes here. I'm like, maybe then I can do something. But he just moves the knight, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm an idiot. And now my queen is doing nothing. So, a few moves go by, and I start trying to make things a little crazy. I push this, which is a nice trap, because if you take, you lose the queen, which is pretty cool. But he doesn't fall for that. He moves the queen out of the way, and then it was something like this. And he just, it's GG's. So I went 2 out of 5. I won 2, lost 3. It was a tough day. It's tiring, but hey, I'm going to keep analyzing these games. I'm going to try and learn a lot from them and just keep going. I want to go to more tournaments in the future, try and get my rating up and just get better. So if you made it to the end of the video, thank you. As always, do appreciate it. Make sure you like and subscribe for more and have a great rest of your day.